Hey everybody, it's time for Avian First Aid, Episode 12. Egg binding can be a real problem for some bird owners. That's the topic for this episode.
Okay, egg binding is another emergency that we would commonly see. Egg binding means a bird is unable to pass the egg that's in the uterus, and it is just like childbirth. It has to come out. It can't just stay there. There's multiple possible reasons for that. One could be that the egg is just too big for the pelvis, and that would commonly happen with birds that were quite young when they started laying. Another possibility would be that there wasn't enough calcium in the diet. Calcium is required for muscle contraction, so if they don't have enough calcium, sometimes the muscles aren't strong enough to push the egg out, or they might be too weak from some other condition, poor nutrition or whatever. So for whatever reason, the egg is in there and it isn't coming out. And we see every presentation from the hypochondriac owner who saw that his bird might be laying an egg and rushed it in, and it laid it half an hour later, to one that has a huge distended belly and just can't have it and is on the bottom of the cage because it's calcium deficient. So we see that whole range. It can be not serious at all. It can be so serious that they die in your hand. Some of them, and many of them, you have to stabilize prior to moving them or prior to treating them. This would be one of the situations that would fall under the, your bird is too shocky and has low blood sugar. He may also have low calcium. So if this bird is able to swallow, you would be better to choose one of the electrolyte solutions to give them orally rather than just the sugar solution. Sugar solution, corn syrup, will give them blood sugar, but it doesn't have any calcium in it. However, if your bird isn't swallowing because it's so weak, don't try liquid because you might drown them with it. So supplemental heat is important. You've probably all read about steaming their butts to get the egg out. The reason that sometimes works is it warms up the bird, and sometimes their cloaca gets too dehydrated, and when the egg comes out, the cloaca is very, very thin membrane, and it has to be able to move around the egg and then come down. And I've seen some where it got too dry because the bird was too dehydrated and it was stuck to the egg and it wouldn't move. So if that happens, a little bit of steam is good. But I've also had clients who burned their birds' bottoms by steaming them to get the egg out. So if you're going to do that, be really careful. And what I prefer rather than steam is to lubricate with KY jelly or a hot face cloth, because then for sure you're not going to burn the tissue and create another problem. Because what you're doing is you're warming the bird up and you're hydrating them, hoping that then their own uterus will be able to expel the bird. If the bird is straining and you can see that there's a swelling there, but still walking around and looking chipper, you're probably okay to do supplemental heat and wait for a little while. If you think that they are, very shaky, unable to stand, kind of wobbly, then I would get some fluids into them, warm them up for 10 or 15 minutes, and then get them in. Because the longer you leave that egg there, there's pain to deal with, and then there's also the hydration. When they come in, often when I first see them, I don't even do everything right away. There are some of those birds that I take in their cage, I put them in our incubator, get them warm, give them oxygen before I even touch them. Because some of them are so stressed, if you touch them up just to handle them, they die right now. So I would give them 10 minutes of warming up and supplemental oxygen. Then a bird like that, I would pick it up, palpate the egg quickly. I would already know what the bird weighs, and therefore I would have sub-Q fluids and calcium injectable available. Give them an injection of that, give them another 10 minutes in the incubator warming up before I start to extract the egg.